Got to get 5. Ducks, rush only 3. Must have had all day. Tries to escape, circles back, still alive. Loses the football, ball comes out. It's scooped up by the Ducks. And Tony Washington streaking to the end zone.
I don't know why you removed us like that, Ryan. I think you can just not do that. But welcome to the Week 0 podcast as my pupper decided to come downstairs for a bit. Coming to you live from the basement in Millersville, Maryland. This is the Week 0 podcast. I am your host, Connor, back the PAC Doherty. To my left is Ryan. Texas is back in baseball, Fravel, and below me is Lucas. I actually can't see your name tag with
I know our new overlay cuts off my name tag.
The new overlay, I can't see it.
It's all right. It's Bo for Heisman.
Bo for Heisman. That makes sense. So we're getting to Lucas's conference today, but we'll be getting to that in a bit once our friend Blake joins us in a bit. He's got more important stuff to do right now, Blake. So, but how are you guys doing today?
Good, not too bad. I'm happy to talk about the Conference of Champions. So it's
funny. It's funny you call themselves that. And when was the last time any team won a championship in a major sport in the Pac-12, like football, baseball?
2018.
Baseball? In what?
Baseball, Oregon State.
All right.
Actually, that's a lie.
I should know that. Adley Rutschman. I should know that as an Orioles fan.
I think 2019 UCLA won in baseball. I'm pretty sure.
No, they got upset.
No, it was 2020.
No, 2019 too.
I think it was
2019.
I think 2019 Oregon State won it because that's when.
That was 2018. That was when they won it. They won it in 2018. I can't remember if that was.
He was just the best. He was just drafted as like the best player. He was given the award.
He was drafted number 1 overall before the season started. But I'm pretty sure 2018 was the year that Oregon State was actually the last team in the tournament, and then they won the whole thing.
They won it back-to-back years, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, maybe.
But I'm looking forward to this show because we get to talk about the Oregon Ducks and how Lucas is going to say that they beat Georgia week 1.
Or how they're gonna beat Georgia.
I've never said that, and I never will.
So the thing is, really, we can't really get started with everything else, like all the topics and stuff until Blake gets here. So we decided to try and find some other topics to talk about. And the funniest one that I keep sharing with you guys the most often is this account, Big Game Boomer, who he posts different topics about just different things in college sports. And there have been plenty of times I've shared them with you guys on the group chat we have. And there have just been some hilariously delusional ones that he just seems to post randomly. And it's always just fun just to see what he says and just to argue about it. So I thought we would talk about that quickly while we wait for Blake to show up. So one we found earlier was, and this rankled Lucas pretty quickly, was he said Oregon State has the best game day atmosphere in the state.
Yeah, and the reason for that, I kind of get it, and I think it's because it's Corvallis is a party town. It's a college town. It's a party town. So Is it in the middle of nowhere? Yeah, I would say so. It's about I think it's like just under an hour outside of Eugene, but small town, a lot of, it's basically all college kids. So I can kind of understand that maybe. It might be, I think it's going to be a lot better once they put a new stadium in and they have like,
they're doing it. Oh, they're building a new stadium.
Yeah, they just took it down after this recent season.
So they're going to build an entire new stadium in half a year?
Yes.
Or are they playing? Jeez, that's impressive.
So I think it's going to be the what you call it, the overhang or whatever it is, because they used to have they used to have one that went over half the stadium, and I think that's what they took down. They might have taken down the whole stadium. I don't know, but I mean, game day at Autzen is just. I mean, even the spring game this year was it's just a different feeling. It's incredible. There's a reason why, like, that it's been one of the loudest stadiums in the country over the past 20 years. Even with only having 64,000 at full capacity, it's game day experience at Autzen is just different.
And their stadium is beautiful.
Yeah.
The stadium is amazing.
It really is. And they actually just this year put in a massive jumbotron where they used to have another one. It's way bigger than it used to be, and clearer, obviously, because technology is a lot better now. I don't know. Maybe maybe he went to a Civil War and all the Oregon Duck fans were there and it made it a better atmosphere. I don't know. I'm not really sure what he was seeing, but I would even almost put it as far as saying that Linfield College in McMinnville is a better atmosphere than Reeser. So it's
he also gave he gave Washington the edge in Washington State and Arizona in Arizona, but Colorado did not get it for their state. It's Colorado State.
What?
And then,
I can see that.
Yeah, I mean, with how bad Colorado has been over the past, really since like the 90s, I think that makes sense. And then Fresno State is for California, mainly because I feel like, half the time it seems like the Rose Bowl for UCLA is like half empty at times.
USC, the Coliseum, it's kind of like if USC is good USC.
It could be a recency thing. Yeah. Recently USC hasn't really been USC, but I will say, like, I don't know. Obviously it's different being there than watching it on TV, but watching the Oregon and UCLA game at the Rose Bowl this last year, like, it looked electric. Like, it looked pretty crazy. So
it was at the Rose Bowl? For some reason I thought it was at Autzen.
No.
That
was when we broke out.
But I've seen
the egg.
I've seen some, like, because obviously we're Notre Dame fan, we play USC every year. Like early 2000s USC, like 2009, 2010, those night games at USC, like, you could feel it through the TV set. Like, those were some of the most electric home games for them. So that's probably a recency thing.
That's where it makes it so hard for the Arizona thing, and maybe we can ask Blake about this too, because I know he's probably been to both Arizona and Arizona State, of course.
He said he's been there, if I remember correctly, during his podcast.
It's so interesting because, like, I will say, night games in Arizona are the hardest games to play in the Pac-12. They always are. Pac-12 after dark.
Oregon. Pac-12 after dark is always the best, but it always sucks, especially for me living on the East Coast. That's like those games are starting at like 11, midnight or 11 p.m. I'm just like so ready to go to sleep because I've just been watching football all day.
There was a game in 2015 where Oregon was playing Arizona State in a after dark game, and it went into 3 overtimes. Didn't get over until 12:30 my time. So, if you're an Arizona State fan or Oregon fan, you're definitely DVRing that because you're not going to stay up until 3 a.m.
That's the biggest problem is like they need.
I think those Thursday game.
Those games just need to. I feel like those games. if they want if ESPN or whatever TV whatever channel the games are being played on wants to maximize the viewers, as Ryan proves how tired he is, proves my point. You got to do it a lot earlier. You got to have it start sooner, obviously.
They wanted to push. They wanted to push games to 9 a.m. Pacific time in the Pac-12, which sucks for us, but I mean, good for you guys because a noon game.
I mean,
yeah,
Alabama. I mean, I know like Alabama and some SEC schools that are, they have 11 a.m. times because I always forget that Alabama is Central Time. They're an hour behind Eastern. You always forget that. Yeah, I mean, it's something
so strange because it seems like an Eastern state.
Well, you would, and when you just try to think of it, you would think it would, but it makes more sense. So so they get a lot of those. And then another one that we found hilarious and confused Lucas even more was that Oregon was ranked as the 5th most dysfunctional college fan base. I don't understand exactly what he's referring to there. I mean, he says not operating normally or properly, but I don't understand how he came to that conclusion. Because he has Auburn 1 and Texas 2, Tennessee 3, and Nebraska 4. So,
I will attest to that. Tennessee fans are straight hogwash.
I don't know why. Just the way you said, just hearing that word.
Yeah, I cannot stand Tennessee fans. Just one baseball weekend, it's like I want to. Oh,
you just want to be done with them.
Yeah,
maybe disappointed. That's a good point. That's Josh is the only person in here right now.
I've never.
Go ahead. As Lucas.
Lucas, the internet. See, Josh gets it. Tennessee fans are the worst.
Yeah.
That's why I was smoking that Tennessee PAC this past weekend, Josh. Oh.
Oh, God.
God, Lucas.
We lost Lucas. Watch. No, Blake comes in and joins in, and we just lose Lucas completely. Wait, I just remembered. Does Blake even have the link?
I don't know if Lucas. I think Lucas sent it to him.
Jesus Christ! What a shit show.
If anything, it would be better if you did send it.
Oh my God,
Lucas, are you there? Oh.
Oh God. And he's the Pac-12 guy too, so it's like he needs to be here for this. Like, what the hell? Oh my God, this has just gone to hell in a handbasket right now.
Oh man.
Where I could put it in the group chat we have with isn't there a group chat we have with Blake? But I can't remember.
Yeah, I would just DM it to him. To be honest, it'd probably be easier. Lucas has returned from the depths.
Adam. Wow, this has just gone
amateur hour
really bad. This has gone so bad.
Amateur hour boys.
This is how I feel. Oh, Central Oregon, man. Central Oregon.
So are you in the middle of nowhere?
Yeah, I am. So if you look at Oregon on a map, you get all the cities down the coastline. You got Portland, you got your coastal cities, you got Salem, you got Eugene and whatnot. And then there's a mountain range, the Cascade Mountain Range. And then on the other side of that is basically Idaho. It's a whole lot of nothing. So I live on the other side. And so Wi-Fi isn't quite a hot commodity. Or
why did you choose to live in the middle of nowhere?
Weather.
Oh.
It doesn't rain all the time here. I get good hiking. I get good
You should just become an Idaho fan at this point because you're probably closer.
They're trying to. They're legitimately trying to make this area new Idaho. Like they're trying to bring it down into here because it's essentially and politically more Idaho than Oregon. Yeah, so it's like Yeah, it's
Oh,
actually
man.
a thing that's been talking about. But yeah, it's just better weather, better atmosphere out here, better hiking, all that
Are you
stuff.
close? Are you closer to
winter-
what? Are you closer to Wyoming than you are to Eugene?
No, I'm about 3 hours out of Eugene.
Jeez. I mean,
It'd
I'm
be like a 6-hour drive.
I'm like, I mean,
to
I'm
near-
five. I'm
next-
5 from
Geographically,
Virginia.
I
Tech, so-
know.
Yeah.
Just want to say, quick update: Notre Dame just hit a home run, second batter of the game.
Heck yeah.
So,
Hold your horses. Hold your horses.
I wasn't so hyped on Texas at all until I saw that guy was kind of nuts. I still think Oklahoma is the best team right now. Stanford maybe,
Stanford's got an explosive offense.
but Oklahoma is just. I mean,
I don't know if you watched that series with them at UConn. Stanford has no defense, but their offense can get like 16.
I watched the end because they won. They were up 4-3 in the bottom of the ninth, and UConn was batting, so I wanted to see the end of it. And UConn wasn't something to sleep on, dude. They had a lot of wins this last year. But
Did you
anyways,
send that invite link, by the way?
Yeah, he's
did.
got it.
We're good.
Yep.
What's up?
Did.
All right.
Did. So really, we're just waiting for Blake because we don't want to get started, unfortunately. And I feel like we're gonna get. He's gonna. Man, you're only 74 miles from Kentucky, Josh. That's funny.
Yeah, I mean, it's not too bad. I kind of like being a little bit farther away from Eugene just because, one, the people there are terrible, and two, it makes it feel like more of like a trip, like I'm going to do something to watch a game rather than like I'm like an hour away, you know.
See, that's why I like
Salem.
being. That's why I like being far away from South Bend. It's like it's a whole day's vacation.
Right,
And you're not straight
exactly.
there.
Wait,
It makes
what?
it a little bit harder on my bank account though, because now I got like night
Cool.
games.
Blake will be
I
here.
gotta-
Blake said he'll be on in a minute.
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know how many toll roads you guys have in Oregon, but like in Illinois,
None.
just to get to South Bend, it's like 6 toll roads.
We don't have that,
Okay.
but like
How is I don't
I
understand.
can't
how
come home.
Peter Moore.
What's up?
I'm just looking through Big Game Boomer while waiting for Blake to join, and he ranks the top 25 easiest head coaching jobs, and I don't understand, but he has LSU as number 1, and he has Texas at 6, and he has USC at 4. I don't understand what he refers to by easy though.
Easy would be like you're gonna get recruits anyways.
He has VT at 22. I'm like, okay. I mean, Oregon. He has Oregon at 11. He has Notre Dame at
I
19.
would say the best teams, like the better teams in college football, would be the easiest ones. Or like historically, like you look at Alabama, they should be number 1.
And what is this
because
list?
easiest head coaching destinations.
Or easiest,
I don't know, 'cause,
easiest
like,
jobs. Just like
Bama-
easiest jobs.
Bama was like they were mediocre at best before Saban got there.
Bama's 7. I think it's a combo of how easy it is to get recruits and the expectations going in. Maybe.
Like I'm
Right,
telling you
yeah.
guys right
Well,
now, I
that's
don't know if
my-
I'm the only one, but once Saban retires, Bama's going back to 6-6.
I don't think so.
No,
You are the only one. There's no way because they'll
they'll see a slight drop. Why are we talking about the SEC all of a sudden?
I don't know, but I want to get into this. I want to get into this real quick with Ryan because this actually comes full circle into the Pac-12 as well, especially with Oregon. When you look at what Saban has produced from his defensive coordinators, offensive coordinators, assistants, like Dan Lanning was an assistant under Saban, and obviously Mario Cristobal was the assistant head coach as well for Saban. So like, if they can't put somebody just plug and play basically once Saban's gone, then I would be really, really, really surprised because he has so many coaches. I mean, Jimbo Fisher, you got Kirby Smart, obviously Mario, Dan Lanning, you got the dude Michigan State. I can't remember his name right now. But there's just so many.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's like if they can't just plug someone in,
and I think and I mean there'll probably be a slight drop off.
Yeah, I mean they're not going to be if they win a national title. I mean, then you're like that'd be crazy. But
USC is the 5th best fight song. Notre Dame is 2nd to only Tennessee.
I can't hear Ryan.
Going to Big Boomer. Oh, he
look
muted
what
himself.
happened to look what happened to Alabama when Bear Bryant was there. They were like kind of like where they are with Saban, not the same extent, but kind of the same thing. He retires and they go 4-8, 6-6, and
Bear Bryant didn't produce the coaches that Saban has. That's the difference.
I just think every dynasty, once you lose that coach, it starts like, I mean, look at the Patriots right now. They went to the playoffs for the first time since losing Tom Brady.
Yeah, but look at Oregon. Sorry, I was watching the baseball game. Your pitcher looks like he's 45 years old.
Who, John Michael Bertrand?
Yeah, he's
bald. A 6-year senior.
Okay. We will now introduce our special guest. He is the host of his own show, Harris Highlights. He's the one who actually kind of gave us the idea to start our own podcast after we pissed him off during the fantasy league that he hosted because we would not stop talking smack to each other. So we went off and just did it ourselves. Welcome, Blake Harris from the Chateau in. Is it Monrovia, California?
Beautiful Monrovia, California.
Monrovia, California.
Didn't I win that league, or didn't? No, I think I lost to.
I don't remember. I just remember the amount of times Ryan and Lucas were just talking smack in the group chat,
Yes,
and
sir.
you, Josh,
We still do it.
Brady, and Lyle just never said anything. And of course, Lyle literally said like 2 things the entire time.
Well, he doesn't say anything in our actual like Arizona State group chat, so I would not be shocked. Yeah,
he's just a lurker.
My response would be just handing out L's to everyone I faced in fantasy, and then I want to say I took on Coster in the championship and I lost, but I was just pushing out L's every week, so I said, yeah, take this, everyone.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, Costa's gone off and done his own thing. He's going through some stuff, so he's left us to man the fort on this right now. But how you doing,
Blake? Graphics, it's looking good.
Yeah, we can thank Ryan for making that.
That's Ryan.
One of these teams is not like the other.
Yes, so Ryan can explain that one with the Southern Miss.
So I actually played high school football with a kid named Cameron Harrell, who was originally committed to Iowa. He was a 4-star recruit out of Illinois and like a top 5 corner in the state of Illinois. Me and him were like best friends, and so he transferred to Southern Miss, and we had him on the show, I think last season.
Yeah,
and so ever since then, we decided we pick a new team every year. It's like the show's team of the year. Kind of got that idea from you guys, stealing like the Chattanooga thing.
I like it. I respect it.
So
we last year was Presbyterian, and we literally, yeah.
How did that turn out?
I think we chose them because they had
that 10 touchdown game.
Yeah, they had like 10 touchdowns in a game. They always went for it on 4th down. I think is why we chose them. They started off like 2-0, and then we kept always picking.
Oh, were they the ones that were the coach decided I'm never gonna punt?
Yeah, I think he was. Okay. I'm not sure if he was the same guy from the high school team that became famous for doing that. I'm not sure if that's the same coach or not.
Because I do remember it was some team where they like won a couple, then they just like lost every game. And I think they ended up firing him at the end of the year. They're like, oh, would you change anything? And he was like, nope, I would have done the exact same thing.
So Ryan's been using his Cam connection to try and see if we can get Frank Gore Jr.
I've been in the process of that. I just actually, because I got that information, I reached out to Frank Gore Jr.'s agent. So just waiting to hear back. NIL is a big
with Blake being on here, switching, transitioning. So we were just talking about some of the big game boomer stuff. And so he was talking about the atmospheres for the best game day atmosphere in each state, and he had Arizona over Arizona State, and so we kind of wanted to hear your thoughts on that one.
As an Arizona State alum for yourself,
yeah, I probably believe it. I mean, ASU is just No, like no
I mean-
sport has a great atmosphere. So yeah, I will. I hate to admit it, but yeah, I being in Tucson, they got nothing to do up there. So that's like they're everything there. Or at least at ASU, they're next to Phoenix, where they have a bunch of teams. Where it's like if you live in Tucson, like you live and breathe like the Wildcats, but it's not the same down there in Tempe. So I want to hate on Arizona as they now go by, but unfortunately, I'll have to agree with I think it's probably the right statement on that one.
I think it's just because they let anybody who's anybody go to Arizona or Arizona State. Like,
Oh, I know.
Family Guy literally made a joke. It's like, I hear it's hard to get into that club than to the University of Arizona. Okay, it's beating. Welcome to the University of Arizona. You're a Wildcat now. It's just like you're breathing. You're a human being. You can get in there. My neighbor went to Arizona State. And, he.
I literally just applied there because I was like, all right, I want to at least have some college I got into. Then I got in, like, okay, there you go.
So you didn't even do it for the journalism, but you ended up just going to the journalism school.
Yeah, I was like, oh, sports journalism sounds cool. That sounds easy. Let me grab that. And then
awesome.
Jokes on me 6-7 years later. But yeah, no, I welcome the Arizona and Arizona State stereotypes because it's 100% accurate.
Of course, you are actually a USC Trojans fan, if I remember correctly, based on how much you talk about them. And I think you and was it Josh or
based on how much Josh talks about.
Josh talks so much about it. Yeah. So
USC and then went to ASU and then lost my USC fandom with how bad ASU's looking. I might have to jump back on the USC bandwagon.
So I mean that's a good
enough.
follow-up question is, with the bandwagon, how do you feel about the team with Lincoln Riley and all the big recruits that have been going, like all the transfers like Caleb Williams and stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I'm personally not as high on USC as I know a lot of people are, mainly because, especially in, this isn't like a professional sports league where you can turn things around so quickly. I mean, you have so many players on a college football team where, again, I get it, you're adding one of the best quarterbacks, adding one of, the best wide receivers. Sorry, Lucas, adding one of the best running backs or one of the more underrated running backs.
So hurts.
They added some good pieces, but again, I think they won 4 games last year. I want to say maybe it was 5, but it was the worst season in like 25 years. And I don't think you can just easily flip that by getting a new coach, bringing in a new quarterback. I think they're going to be, a lot better. I think they're going to be good. Their schedule's an absolute joke. Like they don't have to worry about anything. I think they play Utah. But I know they avoid Oregon. I know they avoid some of the other, decent teams. So
definitely 10, 11 wins is definitely possible.
If they somehow do not reach double digits, then something went wrong. But this is going to be a team like they go 10-2, and whoever they end up playing like in their bowl game, I wouldn't be shocked if they get blown out. I mean, literally, yeah, Utah and then Notre Dame. Like those will be the 2 tough tests. Maybe UCLA, depending on how they are. But like I think SC is going to be good. I just don't think, people are saying playoff contenders. I don't think they're the best team in the Pac-12. Like I think Utah's the best. I think Oregon might be too. It depends on if Bo Nix can live up to what I'm hoping he can live up to.
No Nix.
No Nix. You gotta make sure it's no Nix.
And again, I mean, UCLA might be good as well. They impressed early. So again, there's a chance that SC is the 3rd or 4th best team in that conference. But like I said, based on how easy that schedule is, like 9. Like I'll say 9. If it's anything under 9, that's embarrassing. But they should win 10.
Okay.
Right on.
That makes sense.
So I do have a question for Blake. This is kind of like where do you think this? Like, do you think Lincoln Riley is the coach to take USC back to the USC of days past, where it was national championship or bust, or do you think it's gonna I guess how many years do you think it will take, and do you think it's possible to get USC back to that point?
Yeah, I definitely think, he's going to be the guy. Even before they, made the hire, I know they were talking to like Luke Fickell. They were talking about some of these other coaches, and I'm thinking that would be a good hire, but this is like USC. I mean, if you're going to completely revamp and go back to what they were 20 years ago, like you need a guy like Lincoln Riley, which again, at the time, I didn't think would actually happen. And then all of a sudden they lose a game to Oklahoma State, and he's like, yeah, I'm out. I think
I don't think anyone saw that happening. If Oklahoma, I think, wins that game and makes it into like the championship game, I don't think he jumps.
Yeah, if they're like competing for a playoff spot, it's tough to see him leaving. I think that he's going to be the guy that gets them back to top 5 on a week to week basis. I think it's probably going to take some more time. I know that again he's been killing it in the transfer portal. The recruiting game is where he's been making magic happen. He's getting a bunch of guys to transfer over. He's getting a bunch of guys to change their commitment. A bunch of guys from 2023, 2024. So like I said, they should be a 10-win team this season. Next year, they should be, pretty solid as well because they're still going to have Caleb Williams. But I think 2024 is when they're probably going to be like, okay, it's like national championship or bust. I think this year should be Pac-12 title or bust. I think next year should be reaching the college football playoff or bust. But I think 2024 is when it's going to, assuming everything goes right at SC, I think it's going to be 2024 when you can expect them to be in the national championship conversation.
Okay.
So early prediction for Notre Dame USC, just preseason.
It's game is
where's it at this year?
Notre Dame
At
is
USC.
It's at USC.
At USC. Oof. If it was at Notre Dame, I'd say Notre Dame. But since it's going to be at USC, that has a chance. And I think they're doing the stupid thing again where it's the last game of the season for them, right?
Yeah.
I think with that game, assuming everything goes well with Notre Dame, because I think they're going to be a top 8-ish team, and assuming everything goes well with SC, I think that has a chance to be like maybe potentially whoever wins that might, help their chances in the playoff. I think that's going to be like the most insane USC game since like the Reggie Bush days. So just because of that home field advantage, I think they're going to have. I think SC pulls it out, but again, that one, if it was at Notre Dame, I'd give the edge to Notre Dame in that game.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then they play at Utah, so that's probably like you said.
So those
are definitely be the toughest 2 games for them. Now, I mean, we're kind of just talking about predictions and stuff. What do you see? How do you see Utah doing after being champs last year? Do you see them maybe being still a contender up there? Do you think they'll see a bit of a drop off? What do you think?
Yeah, I think Utah's the team to beat in the Pac-12 this year. I mean, I think they're. I mean, I don't want to say they're like a pack or a playoff, potential contender, but I think they have a chance. I mean, based on their schedule, just from what I remember, I know they go down to the Swamp in week 1, but I think outside of that, them as well. Aside from playing USC, who they get at home, Lucas, I don't know if they play Oregon this year. I can't remember. But I remember when I looked at
yes, they do.
They do.
It's the same week as it was last year.
Okay. I assume it's at Autzen then this year.
Mm.
Okay, so that'll be a tough one. But I like Utah. I think Cam Rising is insanely underrated. I think he's a really good quarterback. Tavion Thomas, so I just did a video on. I mean, this dude literally rushed for 21 touchdowns in like 9 games last year. Their defense every year we know is going to be one of the best. It's going to be the best in the Pac-12 and one of the best in the entire country. So I really like Utah. I mean, it seems like every year they're just always, a 9 to 10 win team. But I think this is probably the best team they've had, at least in recent memory. And again, the fact that they have some of these really good games, they get SC at home. But I guess going down to Autzen, going down to the Swamp, those are going to be tough games. So I like Utah. I think they're the team to beat. Again, whether they can make a push for the playoff, I don't know. But then again, last year they made a late push. I think they started the season like 3-2 or 4-2, and then they just sprouted off like 8 or 9 wins in a row and almost took down Ohio State in the Rose Bowl. So I'm probably a little too high on Utah, just because again it seems crazy thinking that they could be a playoff team. But I really really like them this year.
And what do you think of Lucas's team? What do you think of Oregon? How do you see them doing? Will we see more Bo Nix, or will we see enough no Nicks to kind of ruin their season?
I'm hoping we get Bo, man. Like it's just like
we get first game. They play Georgia in Georgia. Well,
which is just
Mercedes-Benz.
Yeah, it's a neutral game.
It's about the least neutral game ever.
I think last I looked, the spread is like Georgia by 16. So unfortunately, it's really unfortunate they couldn't give Bo Nix like some just D2 program where he could just like light up 400, 500 yards, get into the groove of things. It's like, oh no, Bo Nix, you want to come to a Pac-12 school? Here's just an SEC team that's you can't get away from.
To add on to that, not even like this is probably if you
They get
look
the
at our
vaunted
schedule-
Eastern Washington Eagles afterwards. I
if
mean,
you look at
Well,
our
didn't they beat
schedule
what-
from
didn't-
top to bottom,
isn't
it's
Eastern
like-
Washington the team that beat Washington State a few years ago, or Washington?
I
Isn't
think
it the
they
same
beat
team?
they beat one of them. I forget which one.
Yeah, they beat one of them. Damn.
Eastern Washington beat Oregon State when they had Vernon Adams, but it's like it's not only did they give Bo Nix like Georgia, but then they give him Eastern Washington, one of the best FCS schools. Then they give him BYU, who is probably going to be a ranked team by that,
God.
and then Pac-12 play. So it's like this is one of our hardest schedules we've had.
You very
in the year.
easily could start the season 1-2. Very easily.
Yeah, we could.
Yeah.
It's very possible. But I think, you can continue. But it's just like Bo Nix, like his legacy, like it's like the football gods are just throwing everything bad at him that they can, just like giving him the hardest hardships of all time. It's
Bo Nix is literally his whole career is just the legacy of memes at this point.
right.
It is.
It's like, and I actually said this on the show last season, Blake, and I thought it was hilarious because I can't remember if it was you or if it was somebody else on the show, on the Harris Highlights show. But I said it was a combination of two of the worst takes in Harris Highlights show history.
Oh, I think I remember
Oregon
that.
being a playoff team
Yeah.
and Bo Nix being a Heisman candidate.
Oh yeah, wait, were you the one who said Auburn was gonna be a playoff team?
No, it was Oregon.
Yeah,
Oregon.
I was the one that not only playoff. I said they were going to go undefeated.
Was that last
doubled
year or
that.
was that?
No,
It was 2 years ago. That was 2
It
years
was
ago. I
2
think.
years ago. It was the one year when Oregon still had one loss. You guys ranked like third or fourth, and you came down to ASU, and I'm like, oh God, do I either have Oregon win and my take lives on and actually can use this? Because essentially they were still in the playoff hunt, or it's like, or does ASU win and it's dope.
And then ASU won.
Then my take just
Yeah.
like even worse.
Hey,
Yeah,
it's
no,
all right. Rose Bowl champs, Pac-12 champs. I'm totally okay with that season. I'm okay.
Yeah,
with
no, I somewhere deep down, I mean, but like we've literally seen it in flashes. I mean, his best game of his career literally came in his first career game against Oregon.
And
But
even
it's
then,
like-
it wasn't that good statistically of a game.
Except
He
for
just had
that
some
like
good
final
throws.
drive when he
Yeah,
looked,
yeah.
unbeatable. Like I know the talent's there. Like I know he has the chance to be good. It's just like the guy is just the decision making that he does. I've seen in recent years. Like I think he has a chance. I mean, I do think he has some better offensive weapons surrounding him than he did, at Auburn. But like I said, I had to look up his schedule because I was like, man, what is he having to face? And yeah, the fact that he gets BYU in week 3, UCLA, Utah. Luckily, he gets to avoid USC this year. I think Oregon's going to go as Bo Nix goes. If Bo Nix lives up to the potential, I don't think they can beat Georgia. I think they would literally just need Bo Nix to just be God and
Hey,
have
Bo
a-
think
Nix
I think
beat
it's-
Bama.
The best thing,
He beat Bama.
Bo
So
Nix
you got to
beat
remember that.
Bama.
You got to remember that.
the best
So-
thing for him is that all of the toughest games other than Georgia are at home. They get BYU. They get UCLA. They get Utah at home and stuff. So those are like their toughest conference games. They're all at home. So that's
Yeah, they're only like road games. I'm looking at this, Washington State, Cal, Colorado, Oregon
Arizona.
State. Oh yeah, Arizona. So
Oregon,
yeah,
and then they're at Oregon
they
State.
got some good ones, that he can take. So Oregon, I literally would not be shocked if they finish the season 11-1, like they win every game outside of their Georgia loss. Which again, barring Stetson Bennett throwing 5 pick sixes, like I don't know how they can do. I mean, they can cover the spread. I think they can keep it within 2 scores, but it's just tough to see him winning. But I wouldn't be shocked if Oregon goes 11-1. I wouldn't be shocked if they go 8-4. Like I have no clue what to expect with them. They're kind of the team I'm more like SC. Like I don't think there's a chance they win like under 10 games. Utah, I don't think there's a chance they win under. Oregon, I don't know. Like it's so hit or miss with them. And like I said, I think it depends on Bo Nix. If Bo Nix lives up to the potential, there's no stopping him, and he's a Heisman front runner. But if we get the Auburn Bo Nix,
I think
he might not make it through the bye week.
And in
Okay,
2019,
I think we should just immediately just
add on
go
to
straight to that.
Go ahead, Lucas.
So to add on to that, though, this is so in 2019, Bo Nix with Auburn, they went 9-4, right? They beat Bama, they beat Oregon, had some big wins. That was the last time that Bo Nix was with Kenny Dillingham, who is now the Oregon offensive coordinator. So I think that you got to almost looking back at that, it gives me a lot of confidence, and also the fact that Bo Nix not only is here, but he has 2 more years at Autzen if he decides, or in Eugene if he decides to stay. So like, I think adding all those things together, we got potential. I don't know if it's a playoff team, but Dan Lanning just won a national championship, so who knows?
Right.
So I wanted to go ahead and ask Blake this just so we can kind of get this out of the way. We can go ahead and go to the Heisman, but kind of give us your surprise team for the Pac-12 this year, like some team that's under the radar, and then kind of like your biggest disappointment, like based on expectations.
Oh, this one is easy. I'll just go to biggest disappointment, or I'll just do biggest surprise since it's right there with the nice looking graphic. I hate to say it, lots of Wildcat talk. I think Arizona is going to low key be nice. I mean, they like killed it quietly in the transfer portal. I mean, they had a really good offseason. Jaden DeLora comes over from Washington, who I think he was the Pac-12's Offensive Player of the Year last year, or was the time is not real. I don't know what year we're at anymore, but he's a really good quarterback, and I really think the addition to him in the Wildcats offense is going to be great. And I think they're turning things around now. Granted, I'm not saying they're going to be competing for the Pac-12 title and winning 10 games or so, but based on how they've been the last couple of years, I wouldn't be surprised if they were to win 7 or maybe 8 games this year, assuming all goes right. Again, I don't know what their schedule looks like. I don't know who necessarily they play, but I think there's a chance that they can, really do some damage, be one of those teams that upsets one of these top tier teams like a USC, like an Oregon, like a Utah. Like I said, they might win 6 games, but that might be considered a success for them. So I'm going to go with Arizona.
And after a 1-11 season, I think that's definitely
which is like they can win 4 games, and that's like
that's a major success.
So let me just see here. I just want to see who they're playing really quick. Let me just load up their schedule. Yeah, let's see. They're not. Oh yeah, so they're non-con: San Diego State, Mississippi State. They got Oregon, at Washington, USC, Utah, UCLA. Okay, so maybe I'll jump the gun on the 7-8 win, but I still think
that's going to be 7 or 8 losses. I think.
Yeah. Hey, if you're tripling the amount of wins you had in the previous year, you'll take it. Now, whether you're going from 4 to 12 or 1 to 3, it depends. But I do think they can win a lot of games. Biggest disappointment, I'm going to go with ASU. I think they're going to be bad. I think their win total projection is 7.5 wins or something like that. Maybe it's 6.5, depending on where you look. I don't think they're going to go bowling, and I think
that's generous not having Jaden Daniels anymore.
Yeah, I mean they lost literally all their top offensive weapons. They had a great 1-2 punch with their running backs with Chip Trainum, Rashad White. They're both gone. Literally I think their top 2 leading receivers, I think they left. Their best linebacker left. Offensive line, they lost a couple pieces to the draft. So when you take into account everything they've lost, and just the fact that their coaching staff is going to look completely different, I think it's going to be a brutal year in Tempe. I'll give them 4 wins, but I don't know if they'll be able to reach that because
and Herm is gone.
Somehow.
So that's the thing. Over under 5 games until Herm is canned.
All right, let me look up. Which, dude, they could go 3-9, and freaking Ray Anderson will be like, no, we're gonna keep him for 1 more year. let me see, because ASU has a chance because they're gonna go 2-1 to start the year because they get Northern Arizona, they get Eastern Michigan. They have to go to Oklahoma State, which you can just hammer the points with Oklahoma State in that one.
Right.
But then they literally have a 3-game stretch of Utah, USC, Washington. They'll be lucky to get a win out of that. And then, I mean, their back half after their bye week, Stanford, Colorado, Washington State, Oregon State. They do have UCLA and Arizona. So I think Herm makes it through the bye week. I think he makes it through 5 games. But that
he'll be let go 2 games left in the schedule, like the VT did with Fuente or something.
Yeah, he'll be 3-8 or 3-7, and
he's just a dead man walking.
Yeah, which I love Herm. I love everything, but clearly it didn't work. Mm-hmm. This is what, year 4, I think, and they've won 8 games essentially every year, but it's you didn't take the next step. But yeah, I think ASU is going to be bad. I think they're going to be a disappointment with Emory Jones leading the way. Just good Lord.
Oh God, I
Right.
completely forgot that. I completely forgot that he was the one who transferred in. I completely forgot. Where did Jaden Daniels go?
LSU,
Oh, he went to LSU.
which
Oh.
if the way this guy looked in Pac-12 play, good Lord, put him against SEC defenses. Like
I don't think he starts over
Miles Brennan.
Brennan. I don't think he starts over him.
It's going to be tough, but if he does, he's going to be running for his life. All 160 pounds of him. Well,
he's so skinny.
George
So basically, you've got
seeing him. He reminds me of that guy. What's his name? Blackman. That was the quarterback for Florida State, who literally was a twig. And I always cringed every time he got tackled because he literally looked like he was going to break something.
You remember that game against Clemson where he got absolutely just like mauled?
Oh, you're right. That's what I was thinking about. Yeah. But I guess you already kind of talked about it. Worst team. So will it be ASU or do you think Stanford? Would it come down to between those two teams, ASU and maybe Stanford? Do you think Stanford?
I think Stanford's going to be a little better this year. I know they've been kind of off the last couple of years. I think they'll be decent. I think the worst team is going to be Colorado. They didn't have a lot of talent last year, but whoever they did have left in the transfer portal. So I actually think it's going to be Colorado. I think again this is going to be a team. Let me just get up their schedule. But I think it's going to be.
I mean, they're going to start. I think they're going to start 0-3. They get TCU. They play at Air Force, and then they play at Minnesota.
Then UCLA at Air. Yeah, they. Looking at the schedule,
they could be 1-4. They could be 1-4 by the time they get to their bye week. Actually 0-5. So they play at Arizona based on what you're saying.
Yeah, they got a rough schedule. I mean, they might have the hardest schedule in the Pac-12.
Their final 4 games might be the 4 hardest teams. They get Oregon at home, at USC, at Washington, and then Utah to finish this regular season. Dear Lord.
Yeah, so Colorado, they'll be lucky.
Washington going to be? Was last year kind of a down year for Washington? It's just kind of they'll rebound a bit.
I think they'll be back. I really like Michael Penix Jr. Again, assuming he starts. They brought in DeBoer from Indiana. So I think Washington, I think they'll not necessarily be like in the running for the Pac-12 title game, but I definitely, because what was it last year? They won, I think 5 games. It was
they went 4-8 and 3.
And they lost to Montana. Was it Montana or Montana?
Oh yeah, they lost to Montana.
They were ranked like 20th to start the year, and then they lost to Montana. Then everyone just lost confidence. I think Washington will be back again, not necessarily winning 9 to 10 games, competing for the Pac-12, but especially after winning 4 games, I think they can be like an 8-win team right around there, depending on how things go. Because again, like with what I mentioned with Utah, Washington's defense is still going to be really good. It's just their offense, it's just been kind of underwhelming these last couple of years. They just haven't really had that
ever
many.
Since whoever the quarterback was that got him to the playoff.
I was just thinking about that with Jake Browning.
Since he left,
he wasn't fantastic. He just did it.
They had stars around him with they had Pettis, they had Ross, they had
oh god, I forgot
Miles
Ross.
They had Miles Gaskin as well.
Miles Gaskin,
that was a good team. Mm-hmm. So I think they'll be better. I mean, the thing with the Pac-12 this year is, like I said, I think with the exception of Colorado, who I think Colorado, they're just going to be garbage. Cal, I'm kind of torn on. I'm not exactly certain. But I think every other team is going to be able to compete this year. Like I said, I'm down on Arizona State, but I wouldn't be shocked or put it past them to win 7 or 8 games. And I think there's a lot of talent in the Pac-12 this year across the board with, like I said, I think you have USC, Utah, and Oregon. Those are the 3 that are going to be competing. But I think there's going to be so many teams where on any given week, there can be an upset that happens. So it's going to be some good Pac-12 football, some ugly football, but
yeah, that's the thing that you guys on your show always mention whenever talking about the Pac-12 is that's the problem with it is
they're all mediocre.
They're all bad. They're all bad enough at times that they'll beat each other, and there's no one good team that rises to the occasion to really become like a playoff team or something. And I think that might be the problem this year. So we kind of talked about it. Well, actually, let's do Bo Nix automatically Heisman candidate.
Well, that's just assumed, right?
Yes, sir.
I mean, okay.
I don't know if anyone has it up, but does anyone know what his actual odds are? Because I feel like it's something just astronomical. Like
it's got to be. It's got to be.
Let me do this.
Lucas,
Bo Nix.
Lucas,
it's got to be like +6.
What about Travis Dye? Travis Dye, early Heisman candidate.
He's
Okay,
probably-
Okay, wait. This is on Vegas Insider, according to Thome Cunningham. Bo Nix is at plus 5,000.
Oh, that's
That's
better than I
level-
thought.
So yeah, 50 to
along the
1.
same
That's not
level,
awful.
along the same level as Hendon Hooker at 5,000, Max Johnson, Travis Dye,
Oh,
Tank
interesting.
Bigsby, Aiden O'Connell, and then like the next guy above Bo Nix is Jackson Smith and Jigba at plus 3,000.
Oh, I like
lot-
him a lot. Like
lot
I
of
know
these
we're
guys
not
have
talking
questions.
global, but I like him. I think he can have potentially
Jackson?
make a Heisman run. Yeah,
Oh,
I
dude,
think
yeah.
I think he's going to put up video game numbers this year.
I think it'll be, even though we're not talking about that conference, I think he'll be a little bit overshadowed by CJ Stroud a little bit.
That's the only thing that's going to suck for him is that Stroud's going to take votes. Like he's going to have to put up like a season like never before because
He's going to have to have a Devontae Smith type season.
He would probably have to do better because Stroud would obviously be the one giving him a bunch of that, and that would be padding Stroud's numbers as well. Obviously, unless
he'll need Stroud to throw to no one else. Like
exactly. I mean, who else? Honestly, who else actually is there besides?
I really don't know who. I mean,
they brought in like 5 4-star receivers last year.
I know they have Marvin Harrison Jr. And
Marvin Harrison Jr. Okay.
There's one.
They clocked him in at like a 4.2 something. Marvin Harrison Jr. on a 40.
Absurd. Good. That's crazy.
I'd hate to see the over/under for Week 1 against Notre Dame for Jack Smith and Njigba for his yards.
Oh, he's going to go for 12 for 200 yards at least.
I think the starting line is going to be about 150 minimum. Easy.
With what London did to you guys.
Oh God,
year,
no.
Okay. Other than Bo Nix, which is obvious and a given, who else do you see potentially as a Heisman contender, guys?
Yeah, I mean, obviously you have like the basic Caleb Williams one, but that's no fun. I mentioned him earlier, but Cameron Rising, like I think he's going to put up some really good numbers this year for Utah. Again, maybe Tavion Thomas. I think again, if like I said, the fact that he rushed for 21 touchdowns in essentially 9 games, like if he's able to do that again, maybe he can get to like 25 or 30 and get close to the record. I think that's kind of pretty much it. Maybe if like Jordan Addison goes off at SC, but I'm just thinking of guys on SC, Oregon, and Utah, because I think those are going to be the only 3 teams that are relevant. And essentially, like unless you're Lamar Jackson putting up like 6,000 total yards, I mean, you essentially need like 10 wins usually. Right. So all those names, I know they're kind of boring, but I guess again, like an underrated one. I don't know if you still have the odds.
Cameron Rising is plus 6,600, but I'm guessing
66.
But I don't know what this is just Vegas Insider. I don't know what actual thing this is like. Betting thing it's from. Who else did you say?
Tavion Thomas.
Oh God.
I think Bo Nix is probably the only one on Oregon though that has like a.
Caleb Williams is plus 800. He's third best odds.
Yeah, he's 8-1. I'm sure Jordan Addison's like kind of around Jackson Smith and Jigba. Those are probably the guys. Like realistically, Caleb Williams probably is the best shot. And then again, if Utah goes like 11-1 and Cam Rising throws for like 4,000 yards, maybe. But I think best chance.
Emory Jones plus 10,000.
Oh God, you might as well just give your money
Michael
away.
Michael Penix Jr. plus 1,500.
Yeah.
Penix Jr. could restart his career.
I don't see that the guy Jordan, whatever his name was, on here.
Jordan Addison.
He's not on here.
Blake, what do you think about? Because I was actually thinking about this like a lot, and I think a lot of people kind of like fell off on like the love that UCLA got last year. Halfway through the season, they had that big game against Oregon, and that kind of just spiraled the season. But with DTR coming back and Zach Charbonnet, who, for the first 5 games, I mean, there were a lot early Heisman talk, I guess.
I remember that he was a beast early on.
DJ Uiagalelei is plus 2,000. Are you kidding me?
Could you see them having that big of a year this year?
Yeah, I mean, I mentioned them earlier as kind of like a team where I think there's a chance they can bounce back. I think they finished, again, I want to say last year with 8 wins.
What, UCLA? 8-4.
Yeah.
8-4. They had their bowl game canceled due to COVID.
Yeah, but I mean, they started off the season. I mean, we thought they were going to be a potential threat, in the Pac-12. They get DTR back, throwback to when they had Dylan Gabriel for like 5 days, and then he was out of there.
He did go there for a second.
Yeah, Zach Charbonnet. I mean, yeah, I'm looking at UCLA's schedule, so they just essentially, you might as well make them 3-0 right now and not even have risk injury playing those 3 games. I mean, Bowling Green, Alabama State, and South Alabama. Oh my goodness! And then
are all
3 of those at home though?
They are, yes. Unfortunately, you don't have to go to Bowling Green or South Alabama.
You mean to give the South Alabama Jaguars a chance?
Guess what Virginia Tech is doing, Blake? They're going back to Old Dominion this season to start the season off. Yeah, they're going back to restart. Because they're stupid and they decided to make Old Dominion the new East Carolina with a home and home.
The real question,
and then they play at Liberty in like the second to last week
like
of the season.
Why would you do that to your non-con schedule? Just like
at this point, do we know if they're scheduling that game on CBS Sports and they're having the same crew that called that game?
Oh God, that guy whose like voice was cracking on every like.
Oh my God!
I still think that because if I remember correctly, I think it's like not like the biggest underdog to cover, but it was like the biggest flip in points where I think they were like a 28-point underdog and they won by like 28 or something like that.
They won by 14
or 14. So it was like a 40-something point like swing. But yeah, RIP to Virginia Tech for some reason doing that. But
but no, it was I think the biggest one I think was Howard beating UNLV. That was like a 44. They were Howard was 44-point underdogs. Was that Cam's little brother?
That
was Cam Newton's little brother.
It was. Yeah, no, I think UCLA is going to be good this year. They have the chance. Their schedule's kind of tough though. They do have a stretch of Washington, Utah, Oregon. They get SC second last week of the year. So I think they'll probably be right around where they were last year with 8 wins. I wouldn't be shocked if they make a run of things. If they're one of those teams that, because let's see, they get Utah at home. They get USC at home. Their toughest game of the season is going to be at Oregon. But I mean, if Bo Nix falls off the rails, like that's a game that UCLA could win. So I like the Bruins this year. I think they're going to be in the running, just like with every other Pac-12 team we've mentioned that has a chance to be really good. So, but I do like the Bruins this year. I think they're going to build off of last year, and I think they're going to make a run at the Pac-12 title game.
Oh no!
I mean, I think a lot of people forget last year. I mean, we and Lucas went back and forth on this. That I told him that if DTR didn't go down in that game, I mean, UCLA was up 14 points at one point. And DTR goes down with that injury, and that kind of just made the whole game fall apart. But, I mean, if he can stay healthy, that's the key. If he can stay healthy, then they got a chance.
Yeah. And then you mentioned about Zach Charbonnet, who was literally, like you said, a Heisman, not front runner, but he was in the running like through the first few weeks of the season. The numbers he was putting up were insane.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, definitely. So I guess the last one is we could. The actual teams that we think will compete in the championship.
Well, can I add something real quick, Connor?
Sure.
I do have a question for Blake. So I have been very intrigued with this Cameron Ward, the quarterback from Incarnate Word, coming into Washington State. Do you think that could put Washington State maybe over Washington for the first time in 10 years?
There you go, Cameron Ward. He's at the same level as Travis Dye at plus 5,000.
I mean, if he's able to translate everything that he did at the FCS level, I mean, the numbers that he put up were like insane. I think he threw for like 4,500 yards, like nearly 50 touchdowns.
Was he the guy that was like everyone wanted? Like everyone was absolutely insane on wanting him.
He was like the top like FCS guy. I can't remember if this is right. I think the reason he ended up at Washington State was there was like a connection. Like it might have been the former Incarnate Ward coach is like at Washington State now. I think like that's why he ended up there. But I think he took visits to like Ole Miss, Auburn. Like he was visiting some like top tier programs. But like I said, I think he ended up at Washington State because of his former coach being there. But yeah, if he's able to translate his game from Incarnate Ward, I mean it's a big jump. But we just saw this past year with Bailey Zappi. He went from Houston. Now, granted, you're going to Western Kentucky, but the dude was lighting up numbers like no other. And I think he has a chance to be really good. Whether that's able to get them above Washington, I don't know. But, you go as far as your quarterback can take you. And if he's able to, throw for 300, 400 yards a game and just sling it and just throw touchdown after touchdown, maybe that's what Washington State wants. Maybe they just say, listen, we're giving you the keys to the offense. Just sling it and just let it ride. So
go back to the Connor Holiday, Luke Falk days.
Oh, I hope
when
they
just
do, because
were
those
all over the field.
those were the best Pac-12 after dark games, and it was like
Mhm.
Washington State versus Cal, and you're like, I don't care at all, but yeah, one of these guys is going to throw for 600 yards easily.
Mhm.
I
they
miss
passed
when
it
Minshew
65
Mania was a
times.
thing. I miss
Yeah.
Minshew
Yeah.
Mania.
Oh,
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
they had a stretch where they had some really like Minshew, like Luke Falk, Connor Holiday. I think there was another one sometime over the course of the last like 8 years that was sprinkled in there.
Mhm.
They've had, I mean, Jaden Delore the last couple of years, he's been good. So I believe in it. I think they can. I don't know again if they're going to be better than Washington, but I think
Well,
Washington again.
we'll get to see their second game is at Wisconsin. That's
Washington State.
Ooh, that'd
Washington
be a
State.
good one.
Oh, that's a
That'd
good
be a
one.
good game.
They start at Idaho and then they're at Wisconsin, Colorado State. Then they get Oregon at home, and
That's
they have a stretch of 3 games in a row where they get where they have home games.
That's like the thing.
Um,
Like I spend so much time like just looking at like the week 1 schedule because it's like the opening week of college football. But there are so many like matchups in like week 2 or like
And even week
three
3 and stuff.
that I
yeah.
just like have not like paid attention to. So like that one, like I didn't know that Wazoo was going down to Wisconsin.
Yeah, like
Um,
VT hosts West Virginia week 3. It's
See
not
that,
it's not the
that'll be
first week.
sick.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good
So-
one.
So
JT
yeah,
Davis.
because VT decided to do. We start off the road at Old Dominion. Whoop-de-doo. Then we do ACC play when we host Boston College, and then we get Wisconsin or West Virginia. Excuse me.
I'm still upset that we never got to see. Maybe like Lucas is glad we never saw it, but like the year that COVID wiped out the original schedule, when Oregon just had like the absolute gauntlet of death non-con to open the season, and it was like Ohio State, North Dakota State, and then do you remember who the third was? I don't.
I think it will. I don't think it was a crazy. No, was it?
It was like someone respectable, at least I think. I don't know if like these old schedules have like the original schedule, but I was like, that is a 3-game non-con that's just out of hell.
Yeah, it was. I was really excited for that too, and I'm really bummed out because even though we got the win over Ohio State in the horseshoe, like I was stoked about that, but man, did I want to watch Ohio State and Oregon play at home. Now
Yeah.
that Ohio State team with Justin Fields would have. I would
Slap
have
the
left.
crap.
I would have left at halftime.
Oh no! Oh no! It was just North Dakota State and then Ohio State, but it doesn't say whether it was at. I think you and then
It was
I think
supposed
you
to
played.
be
I think you played at
home.
Hawaii as well.
North Dakota State would have been a good one because I think North Dakota State is undefeated against FBS schools in the last.
And well,
20
that's
years.
also the year they had like Trey Lance and
Yeah.
It was
like that was like I was looking forward to that game more than the Ohio State one because I was like I think North Dakota State can actually like beat him, but yeah,
with how
That
bad
was-
Tyler Shuck was, we would have got murdered. It would have been a disaster.
yeah,
So,
it was
like, I
Hawaii.
kinda-
Just looked up. It was Hawaii that they had the other one canceled.
Yeah.
I guess because we haven't really talked about them. What do you think about Oregon State? I know Lucas doesn't want to probably hear you talk about them, but what do you think about the Beavs this year?
The same. It's like again, like every freaking team in the Pac-12. Like I think they're going to be good. I mean, last year they essentially came out of nowhere. They were like the biggest surprise I think in the Pac-12 last year. After
7-6.
Yeah, after
I mean,
years and years of just being like one of the worst in the conference, they come out and they were really good. And I think they're gonna, build off that. Whether or not they can get to 8 wins, that's gonna be tough because it's tough to beat all these teams in the Pac-12. So I think they're gonna be good. I don't think necessarily again they're gonna be one of those teams that's gonna be in the hunt, but I don't know who they play this year, but some good team is gonna go to Oregon State on one of those stupid 8 p.m. kickoffs, and Oregon State's gonna win. Like they do every year. They always have one of those games. So let me go. Let me just quickly load it up. I'll tell you who the upset's going to be.
Well, they get
There were
they get Boise State at home to start the season. They're at Fresno State.
Oh, it's USC week 4. If that's it,
USC week 4.
Yeah, that's
USC
it
week
right
4.
there.
that is it.
See, and the thing about Oregon State is they are bringing back a lot of guys. I think Jonathan Smith was the best thing that ever happened to them, hiring him as their head coach. I'm at the point where it's like I'm okay with Oregon State being decent because I do like that. I like that push. So say Oregon is 10-1 heading into the last game of the season. If we
it makes
play
it that much more fun.
a good team, it's like bottom 20s. Maybe we can show that we're still good, or we can get that big win that we need to boost ourselves up over some of these other one-loss teams.
Right.
I just hate Washington. Like, let's not talk about them.
Fuck the Fuskies, right?
Yeah,
Fuck
fuck
the
the
Fuskies.
Fuskies, dude.
Fuck the Fuskies.
Those guys thought
Okay.
we took their Pac-12 title against USC. No.
Okay, let's get to it. So the Pac-12 changed it to where I think the top 2 teams from each division don't
Which
play
I
each other
personally
anymore.
love. I don't know if you guys talked about it, but I love it.
We haven't talked about it.
We
So
do.
so I think
I've been
Do we
I've been
think-
saying it on the Harris highlight show since like we were in studio.
well
Like, I've
BT's gonna, or not BT, the ACC is gonna change that too. They're planning on,
which
they're
is
planning on changing
so
that.
smart.
Yeah, the ACC is planning on changing it to what's it called? Like a 3-5 or 3-2-5, where you have 3 non-conference, 2 or like 3 permanents, 2 non-conference, and then 5 rotating every year and stuff. So, do we think it'll be USC Utah, or what do we think for the actual championship game?
I think USC's probably locked up one of the 2 spots, and then that second spot's going to be between Utah and Oregon. Just because, again, with SC's schedule, it's tough to say because, again, I think Utah's the better team, but it's just like I just can't see USC screwing up that badly. I will guarantee one of Utah or USC will be in there. I can tell you that. It's just really tough to see anyone. If anyone other than those 3 are going to put up a fight, it's probably going to be UCLA. I think they have a chance to potentially make a run. But I think if I had to go right now, I would go SC versus Utah. Sorry, Lucas. No, again, you know that I'm a bigger Oregon fan than anyone else, but I got to go SC Utah just because I think that's what's going to happen. But then again, I wouldn't be shocked if Oregon's in there and USC.
I could see it very well happening. Like a 10-2 Oregon taking on, or like say there's a 11-1 Utah, or even 12-0 Utah. I think that's very, very possible this year. And then like an 11-1 USC, but then Oregon loses 2 games because they had a way harder schedule than USC. So I mean, it's fine, but I do love the way that they're doing this, because then that means that Oregon is going to be able to play USC and Utah, Washington still, and the better Pac-12 schools every year, rather than having to skip a year where we play Utah every other or USC every other. So it's huge for the conference, or for the schedule making.
Well, because we've also seen in years past, like there's been a team, whether it was like the South or the North, where like this team that was in second in the South had a better record than the winner from the North, where it's like, is that really fair? And I personally don't like having, this, you play the teams in the South every year and then you kind of rotate. Like, I don't think you should have, set teams. Have your set, whoever your rival is, like play them. So obviously you play Arizona every year. But yeah, I'm loving the fact that they finally changed, and the fact that they did it so abruptly, and it's for this upcoming season. Right. I think that's fantastic. And like I said, for the purpose of just the 2 best teams make it, but also, like I said, I hate the rotating schedule. I hate that like ASU plays Oregon once every like 2 or 3 years, and then there's like the weird turn. So I love it. I'm glad they made the change.
Mm-hmm. So we went into it earlier about briefly about game times. I don't know where you are right now. I can't remember where you are right now, but whatever time zone you're in. But
he's in Cali. He's in.
Okay. So
beautiful
okay.
Monrovia, California.
Okay, awesome.
The beautiful chateau in Monrovia, California.
I'm about 10 minutes from the Rose Bowl, so that puts where.
Oh, that's rad. That's rad. Okay, so 9 a.m. kickoff games in the Pac-12. How do you feel about that? And then the night games, because we were talking about it earlier. There was an Oregon Arizona State game in 2015. I guarantee you remember. You were where it went to like 3 overtimes. It was an after dark game, and it ended at like 12:30 in the morning in Pacific time. So then for the East Coast guys, if they're an Oregon or Arizona State fan, then they're probably recording. They're probably putting on a recording or something, because they're not going to stay up until 3 something on a Thursday. I think the time the game was. But changing up game times, like, I think I'd be okay with it, just because like the anticipation, especially when we play somebody good. Like, I remember playing a good Stanford team, and then I have to wait until like 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and I'm just like jittery all day.
It was probably the 7 o'clock night game on like ESPN or something. That's probably why.
Yeah.
Sure.
No, I hate Pac-12 after dark. Like, it is fun, like having a game where, like, I'm sure it's
just a fun meme. That's really what it's become.
It's easier for us though, because we're on the West Coast. Like, I'm sure if I was on the East Coast, like, I would not. I know I would not be watching. Like, unless when I was like at ASU, like we were up and doing stuff. But like now, like I would, even now, like if ASU's not playing, like I'm not watching whoever's playing, like until 10 p.m. or 11 p.m. Hell, even last year when ASU was here, at the Rose Bowl, I had something where I couldn't make it to the game. I straight up stopped watching the game because they were going into the fourth quarter like at 11 p.m. and I was like, I don't want to watch another hour of this. Like, I'm good. I wish that Pac-12 games. I personally like the 9 a.m. I think during the COVID year, like ASU played USC at 9 a.m. I personally loved it. I know players probably hated playing a game at 9 a.m. But I
start the day drinking early.
I know.
Yeah, right.
That's fine with me. That is okay with me.
Yeah.
But
as Lucas said, you gotta combine the W, put that W with the alcohol to make sure to make that go down.
But I want more Pac-12 earlier in the day so more of the country can see it. I mean, I still firmly believe that's why Christian McCaffrey didn't win the Heisman, because no one was up watching his games at 1 a.m. on the East Coast. So I don't mind the one game where if it's like the ESPN game of the week where it's like at 7 p.m. But yeah, the amount of games that ASU had like at 8 p.m. when we were on like Pac-12 network, it's like, God, it loses something when you're that late. I think like the cutoff is kind of like, again, unless you're like the main ESPN game, like for the 7 or 7:30 slate, when it's like a good matchup, then it's fine. But yeah, when it's just crap team versus crap team that late, put it at 1 p.m. because even then, like when I'm flicking during the day, even if I'm watching like the SEC game at 1 p.m., I'll put on the Pac-12 network to see Cal versus Colorado just because they're playing right then and there because I'm interested. But yeah, get Pac-12 games earlier, get some 9 a.m. action up in here. I'm all for it. And plus that way, once you get a game at 9 a.m., your day's free. Like afternoon, you don't have to worry about it anymore, which is fantastic.
Yeah. I mean, at least I feel like if you're a ranked Pac-12 team, I think you should just automatically be on a TV slot time that at least America can watch you, because that's – I mean, I catch myself sometimes like number 24 Oregon will be playing like Washington at like 11 p.m. my time and Central time, and it's like I don't want to stay up till 3 a.m. or 2 a.m. and watch this game.
I don't get how East Coast people do it.
I mean, I just force myself because I'm on the East Coast. I just force myself to do it because I just want to watch football, really. Yeah. Plus, I mean, I'm going to be watching more football the next day anyway, watching the NFL. But the only good thing is that the games don't start until 1, so I get a little bit.
That's like the weird thing, like, because my buddy from like ASU is like, because I was just born and raised where like college game days on like at 6 a.m. and that's just like the norm.
Yep.
And games start like at 9 a.m.
You got to get up real early to watch.
But it's like, on the East Coast, it's like, the first game's not till noon, and I'm just like, that just seems so weird. Like my buddy when he came over from Virginia, he was like, yeah, dude, this is weird having games at 9 a.m. And I'm like, this is weird. How do you not have games at 9 a.m.? Like, this is the best.
We grew up waking up at 9 o'clock to either watch on Saturdays to either watch
to watch the start of game day,
either watch game day or to watch cartoons Saturday morning and then watch football at noon. So it's a little different where there's not really different. Yeah,
right.
Who doesn't love that 11 a.m. kickoff? right
We were
after
talking about
college
that
game
too.
day.
Alabama fans hate that. That's why when Alabama plays like
Well,
Because
they're
it's an
always
actual
playing-
challenge for them for once. They
I
actually
know,
have to play a
it's-
road game, like
Yeah.
like they're
No,
actually
it's-
like an actual road game.
yeah.
It's like because you notice how every time it's 11 a.m. kickoff for Alabama on college game day, they're like, we get to see Bryce Young play against Mercer.
And then he
or the
plays. And
Citadel.
then he plays
It's
for
like-
a quarter and a half.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Uh.
further on with the Pac-12, Blake, do you believe that this could be maybe not this season, but one of these seasons, especially with Lincoln Riley coming over and Oregon getting better and all these transfers coming into the Pac-12? Do you think that this could be a season that puts the Pac-12 more so on the map in college football? Because the way we've done these shows is from the worst, what we believe is the worst conference to the best conference. Right
So
now we have the
ACC,
Pac-12. Yeah.
I was
We
gonna
did
say, so
ACC,
we
Big
saved the
12,
best
and
for
Pac-
last.
No, Pac-12
Yeah,
is in the middle.
right.
No,
So we
Pac-12 is
did,
in the
yeah.
smack dab in the middle.
We did
It's the most average.
ACC, Big 12, and now the
Yeah.
Pac-12. But do you think that this could be a year where, or not Oregon, but the Pac-12 puts themselves up into those, top three conferences? Whereas right now we probably have the SEC, Big 10, and the
Big 12 and the ACC are kind of
yeah,
down
the
this
Big 12,
year, but
Yeah. I think it's definitely on the come up. I mean, I know Josh has said this, take a shot every time he said it, but like he is right when he always said the Pac-12 is at its best when USC is at his best.
Yes, no,
And
he's definitely right.
Like with if SC is actually able to like turn into like a national contender again, I think that is actually going to flip the Pac-12 because then you're going to have more people that are going to want to be, going to SC, which is going to help, that's going to help UCLA recruit because they're going to be able to take pretty much all the leftovers that didn't want to go to SC that you're still, in that town, you're still going against them. Oregon, they're still going to be killing the recruiting game. And I think, if SC is better, it's going to, help these other smaller teams where, hey, we're in a conference that just had the national champion, or we're in a conference that just had two teams that were in the playoff or something. So I think if SC is able to turn things around, it's going to help the Pac-12. We've been kind of seeing it the last couple of years where, Utah's kind of emerged as one of the teams that actually needs to be taken seriously. UCLA's finally good after kind of being disappointing the last couple of years. ASU's, again, kind of been hovering right around the point of relevancy. But, again, we got teams like Oregon State. They haven't been good in a while. They're becoming good again. We really need Stanford to become good again. That's kind of what's been holding them back a tad. We need Stanford to be one of those top 10 to 15 teams. But if SC is able to actually do what I think they can do,
The legend
I
of
think
Toby Gerhardt.
Toby Gerhardt,
what do you
oh,
like?
boy.
What like? Because I mean, as a Notre Dame fan, obviously, I know a lot about Stanford, and we play them every year. What? Because I don't pay attention to the Pac-12 as much as you guys probably do. What is the issue with Stanford football?
I don't think
Because
anyone
they had
knows.
those years.
It's,
like with
I think.
Hogan
Well, I
and-
think the biggest problem is Stanford they put academics first. You have to get in there academically before you will be offered a scholarship.
Yeah, so that's the tough part. They're never going to have
They're never gonna have unless
it's just the fact that every stud they've had has just happened to be a brainiac, like Andrew Luck, Christian McCaffrey, like they were actual geniuses. But yeah, it's kind of.
But
tough
you're not gonna get any. Jokingly, you're never gonna get any like of the 5 stars because they're not trying in school at all because they just know they just need to go to a good school to
That
go to
cat's
a really
pissed.
good. Is that your cat? Oh, that's Ryan's. See, Blake. This is how
Lucas.
unprofessional it is. There's always one animal that makes an appearance or makes a sound appearance every single time,
It's
or
either Lucas's dog or my cat's. It's
or
one of
my
the two.
dog barking, or Lucas has a truck just driving by randomly, because there's a truck driving by.
Respect
So-
Hey,
it.
man.
Respect it.
But like it's just weird because like we play them every year, and I don't remember Stanford ever being competitive in a game against Notre Dame since they had Bryce Love, and it's like
Yeah, that's about when they kind of started falling off, like 2017-ish.
yeah, 2018,
2018,
2017.
Do you think David Shaw is on his way out if he has
Another
one more
mediocre
another mediocre year?
It's like tough because so they've had 3 clunkers in a row. 2018 they won 9 games. For the last 3 years they've won 4-4-3. It's tough because he has like so much history there. I mean, through his first 8 seasons, his worst season was an 8-5 year. So I don't know. I think they love him too much. It's like, who you bringing in, but if they win 3 or 4 games, is that the final straw? But yeah, I don't know because Stanford. I mean, they literally went from 2010 through 2018 where they won 9 games every year except for 1, and now all of a sudden it's not like you go from 9-4 to 7-6. Then you kind of go they just went from 9-4 to 4-8. But I guess in 2020 they were 4-2, so that was actually a good season. It was just last year they sucked. So maybe this year they bounce back. Their quarterback, I'm drawing a blank on his name, but he was like a former 5-star that just hasn't really lived up to the billing yet. Let me see if I can get it right here.
Well, that's part of it too. Is the quarterback thing? Is that what's his face? The Texans quarterback now, who actually had a really good
Davis
season.
Mills. Davis Mills.
Yeah.
Mr. Longneck.
He's
Mr.
for last year, so yeah, but
so they were
continue
4-2. They were 4-2 when he was their quarterback, so they had a good year. And then just for some reason last year 3-9, they pooped the bed. But maybe they can bounce back. I mean, that'd be great. I mean, again, if SC can be dominant, like we know Oregon's going to be good. If Stanford can return to what they were doing in the middle 2010s, Utah's going to be there. And then again, if you can just have UCLA knocking on the doorstep and some of these other teams, that's going to be fantastic. If that's the case, I think the Pac-12 can turn things around. I still wish that they could somehow expand and somehow add a BYU and then maybe add another team that I think can just make it that much better. Unfortunately, adding Utah was fantastic.
Add Boise State. Just add
Boise State. Adding Colorado.
That's actually that's something we're gonna do. We're kind of copying you. Unfortunately,
the realignment.
We're gonna do a realignment.
I think it's great because everyone has different ideas.
I just remember Lyle coming out of left field with Eastern Washington.
But then you explained it and it made perfect sense.
Yeah,
and you're
I can't remember the explanation, but I remember you guys were all just huh, that makes really good sense. But yeah, I think automatically all of us, I guarantee it, will probably put Boise in there. And it just depends who we would drop out of it.
So, if you had Eastern Washington, right, and you had the Apple Cup between Washington and Washington State.
Didn't Lyle
Washington?
Didn't Lyle
Eastern
drop?
Washington?
Sorry.
No, you're good. But what would you call that game then? If it's the Apple Cup for Washington State, what is it? Eastern Washington versus Washington or Washington?
I'm sure they come up with something clever like the
spoiled apple.
The green apple cup or something like that.
The green apple.
But
and then you have Western Washington when they play either of them. It's the red apple instead.
God.
The red apple.
Just different apple.
It's all the apples.
No, but I remember Lyles dropped Stanford. He had him join the Ivy League.
Oh, the Ivy League.
Yeah, join the Ivy League. It's the Ivy League of the West. I remember that.
It makes sense.
It makes absolute sense.
That's what I've always hated about Stanford is because when they were good, my philosophy, especially being an Oregon fan, was you can't be smart and good at football. That you're not allowed to be. You're not allowed to be really, really smart and good at football. Because at the University of Oregon, I mean,
there's a lot of dumbasses there.
Justin Herbert was he's brilliant. Justin Herbert's a really smart dude. But you don't get a lot of. They're mostly just there to okay, we'll give you an A just so you can play football and be good. So
it's just that's what always confused me about UVA is how they always got so many 4 and 5 stars. Back in they still do from time to time. They still get a few really high 4 and 5 stars, and I'm just why? Because the team's gonna suck. You're not gonna do anything.
Right.
And you're only and if anything, you're just going to have a good education, but not actually be able to do anything about it.
See, I think it's hilarious because the SEC's excuse for keeping Vanderbilt in the SEC is their academic prowess.
And baseball.
if you want academic prowess, put Chattanooga in the SEC because they got just as good academics. they would have more wins than Vanderbilt.
No one wants Chattanooga. Obviously, we all know you do not mess with the mocks. You don't. Was it? Don't.
Hey,
what was it?
Mock
Don't
areas.
sleep on
Don't
the
sleep on
mocks.
Chattanooga. Mock
sleep
world.
on the mocks.
Hey, man, they were 3-0 at the end of one. That's all I ever need.
They were up 3-0 at Alabama.
On the
Because
national
they're like-
champs, no less.
Because
On
they're
the
like
national
400-pound
champs.
kicker drained one from 50 yards. Fantastic.
And then I remember you guys posted the video and you guys went nuts. I remember you guys were watching. You guys were watching it like at your normal house, I think.
Yeah,
But
one of our buddies had like a rich grandma that lived like in Scottsdale, which is like the rich capital of Arizona. So yeah, they just had like we were at their mansion just on like the big screen outside, just losing our minds when the guy drained the field goal. And then the rest of the night was just depressing.
Wasn't it just the stream actually wasn't working at first or something? And
yeah, like we couldn't get a connection because it wasn't on TV because it was Alabama Chattanooga. We were having to like.
It was on like
ESPN.
It was like on ESPN Plus.
Yeah,
you
could
drop
the game or something.
I will say this: not many people from that season can say they had a lead on Alabama.
And Chattanooga
they only lost. To be fair, they only lost 38-3. I mean,
I think going into halftime too, it was like somewhat close, and then they
like 17-3, I think, at halftime.
They had a
that probably was not even the most amount of points Alabama won by that season. Probably, I guarantee it. Probably.
Mm-hmm. And against
okay. So I think there's not much else we need to talk about. I mean, unless you guys.
I do want to say one thing, and that kind of goes to Blake's point earlier about when USC is good, the Pac-12 is better. It kind of goes both ways. When USC and Stanford are good, it makes Notre Dame, USC, and Stanford way better because those games are a lot more exciting. I haven't had a USC Notre Dame or Stanford Notre Dame game that's been exciting since
2018.
Yeah, maybe
18, 17.
Right.
So it's been kind of disappointing because it's like Notre Dame, USC, and Stanford are supposed to be like some of the best rivalries in college football.
Yeah, they just haven't been. You know, even like a couple years ago when Notre Dame just like had to beat SC in the final week to get into the playoff, but it was like SC is just not that good, so it's like Notre Dame's probably going to win anyway. Like if it was like again like how it's going to be this year, like if its winner gets into the playoff, then that game's just going to be actually insane. But yeah, the last decade maybe. I think, one of those like Matt Barkley years or something.
Is that always the last game of the season for you guys? Is USC?
It's usually, but weirdly next year it's like the 4th or 5th game of the season.
See, I prefer when that one's in October, like right in the heart of October. Like as a former SC fan, like it should be SC UCLA for the final week. Like that should be the final game. I love having because it was always like then like right in the middle of October. That's when SC Notre Dame would usually play, and I think that's a perfect date, like week 6, week 7, where it's like
it's a good spot to test. Back when both teams were really good, it was a good spot to see.
Plus, it's like right in the middle of the season, so it's usually going to be like the game of the week.
I mean, I don't.
Or you had the Bush push, and that was 1 and 2, right? They were 1 and 2 for the Bush.
I don't know if Notre Dame was. I think
Notre Dame was like 3 or 4.
Yeah,
I know SC was 1. I think Notre Dame was definitely like in the top 5.
Okay.
But I think I don't know if you remember this, Blake, but probably my favorite Notre Dame USC game was the Harrison Smith game where he ended it on the pick. It was like late game drive. I think it was either Matt Barkley or John David Booty. And
it was probably John David Booty then.
Yeah.
You just hear that name and you just know some bad stuff has happened.
God, he was literally Booty. Like he was so bad.
Yeah. I will say about Oregon too, to wrap it up about my Ducks, because I know I've talked about them enough. If they lose this game against Georgia, guarantee they are going to lose a game against a Pac-12 school late night that isn't a very good school. It's
Stanford.
Well, I'll give you my pick right now, my guarantee. Let me just get up there.
Okay. We need to stamp this. We need to stamp it.
It's gonna be a late night.
Wait, Oregon? Is this Oregon?
Yeah, it's Oregon.
Ooh,
well, last year they lost in the middle of the day, so I mean.
But we won against Ohio State. I'm talking about.
Wait. Did they lose at home or not on the road?
here's my reasoning. And it doesn't matter on the road or at home, doesn't matter. So the year that Oregon, after going to the national championship, the year that Oregon played LSU week 1, we lost. Then we went on. We were like number 4, number 3 in the country. We were dominating everybody. And then we lost a late night game against USC when USC had the sanctions and they couldn't even go to a bowl game. We lost that game. Fast forward a couple of years to 2019, we lose to Auburn week 1, and then we dominate everybody. We're rolling, and then late night game against Arizona State, we lose. So I can almost guarantee that if we lose this Georgia game,
So are we going the 2
No,
years in a
such a
row
good
then?
boy.
Thank you.
Are
I
we
named
going-
his name. His name is Beamer, named after Frank Beamer.
What an honor.
What's up, Foster?
All right, I have it right here. Oregon, they're losing Saturday, October 8th at Arizona because when they go to the state of Arizona in general, that's where the Ducks go to die.
yep.
That's literally
I
what
can't
Lucas said
argue.
earlier. He literally mentioned that. Like, he
And this
literally
it's
said
going to
that.
be an 8:30 p.m.
argue with that.
kickoff, and they're just it's going to happen.
I mean, I can't really dog on you too much, Lucas, because that Stanford game last year you did call. You called it literally a couple
Yeah.
days before you guys were going to lose. That
I
game.
called all of our losses. I literally said that we were going to lose in every single one of our losses. So it was like, I can guarantee that happens. But if Oregon does beat Georgia, then
If you guys beat Georgia, I'll like crown you guys national champions. How about
I
that?
think we still go 11-1. If Oregon becomes the first team to win every game in the Pac-12, I would be very, very shocked. I think Utah is like going to be the closest team to doing it since the Pac-12 became a thing.
So has that actually not happened? No team's gone through the
Never
Pac-12 play clean.
Not
there's
the
never been
Pac-12.
there's never been a fully undefeated team with the current Pac-12.
Nope,
Wow.
not one. So
So
Oregon was.
Well, we
People were saying
suck.
Oregon was going to do it in 2019. They were like,
I know.
Oh,
I
Blake
called it.
said
We're
they
gonna
were
do
going to do it.
I
Yeah,
said they were going to do it,
exactly.
and then they did it. They made me look stupid.
God, and then
They made me look stupid
dude,
twice.
and we almost came back in the Arizona State game. Justin Herbert threw 2 of the worst interceptions I've ever seen in my life,
Yeah, that game was insane.
and we were up 21 on Auburn. I think is how much we were up on them, and then ended up losing the game. It was like, oh, dude, that
So Lucas, let
season
me
makes
ask
me
you this
cringe.
really quick. How would you be more mad if you guys lost to Georgia and ended up going like you went 11 or 10-1 or 11-1 and then lost in either the Pac-12 title or lost to like Stanford or something? Or would you be more mad if you guys beat Georgia and went like 11-0 and then lost the final game of the year?
To
dude.
Oregon State.
dude, give me 0-3 to start the season as long as we win against Oregon State and Washington. I don't care.
Okay.
Beat those 2 teams, and I'm happy.
So you're
That's
happy
like the
going
state that
2-10.
ASU fans are at now. They're like, "Hey, we can go 0-11 to start the year, but just please beat Arizona."
Yeah,
game.
right.
That's all we care about.
Here's a good question for Blake. So first time head coaches. So I know that I believe Brent Pry is also a first time head coach.
Yep.
So all
First time.
three of us have first time head coaches as our team's head coach.
That were all ironically defensive coordinators. in their
Yes.
previous job. I
So
just realized that.
how do you feel about that? Do you think that the expectations should be lowered because of that, or do you think it should just be like it's just another head coach coming in, whatever?
I think
And
it's
that, I guess, to add to that question, Blake, just kind of side onto it, I guess what he said, and then also, who do you think is in the best position to succeed out of the 3?
it's tough because it's like, it depends on expectations. Where it's like, Virginia Tech, no offense, like they're not expected to make a playoff push this upcoming year. So
Honestly, I think that everyone fully expects this is like a true rebuild because everyone
Yeah.
seems to agree that Fuente kind of left us like the last 2 recruiting classes he had was ranked 63rd and 41st.
Yeah,
Like
it was.
that was not good. So
Yeah, so it's and then you know they might sneak around in the ACC, but even then it's like they're not entering the season as like preseason. They should be one of the teams to beat in the ACC. So it's like that's an easier situation because again, as long as you just don't suck, like as long as because how many games did Tech win last year?
6. We made it. We
Six,
went
so-
6. We went 6 and 7. So we were in the pinstripe.
So it's
bowl.
like as long as you go bowling, like ideally you want to improve, but it's like you're not
No.
asking for a whole.
Well, their
lot.
schedule is relatively easy. They avoid Clemson. They avoid Florida State. Obviously, they get
Right.
they get Miami at home. They get Virginia at home. So they get
Right.
they get pretty much and West Virginia and Boston College are all at home. So all of their toughest games really are at home. But the thing is for them is like I think the biggest thing is as long as if he loses any of those games against in-state teams, Old Dominion, Liberty, or Virginia, I think that's going to cause some problems. I don't think it's going to make his seat very hot, but that's going to, make everyone a little worried if that was to happen.
Yeah. So I'm just thinking about Lanning and Freeman. I'm just trying to think like it's kind of like on the same tier. I think for those like I don't think one is necessarily under more pressure than the other because I guess maybe Freeman just because they decided to stay in house, whereas Oregon essentially could have gotten anyone they wanted. Dan Lanning's considered like one of the best defensive minds like on the market right now, and I get he's a first-time head coach, but it's like you get a guy like that, and if you can shape up the Oregon defense, like you got to do it. So maybe Notre Dame, even though again like it wasn't.
There's the bark.
There's the bark. Like I like the hire. Like I thought it was smart, but I guess maybe just because like sometimes those decisions to stay in house like end up not working out. But I like it. I think the players clearly seem to like it for Notre Dame. Like they love the guy. So overall, like I'll say maybe Notre Dame just a little more. And also I think Notre Dame has higher expectations than Oregon does. Like I think Oregon's got Pac-12 championship. I don't think they're necessarily at like playoff is the expectation. I think in Notre Dame, I think playoff's the expectation, and it might be tough. You're like,
we're getting both the cat and the dog right now. Meanwhile, my dog normally he would be barking, but he's just fine right here. He's just resting on my lap.
My girlfriend's dog's in my room right now, and I'm fully anticipating the little dog to start barking now when she hears this, and it's just going to be an absolute mess.
What type of dog do you have?
She's. I don't know. It's like I said, it's my girlfriend's mom's dog that I'm watching right now, but she's one of those little white ones. She's like a mix of a couple things. I should know this, but I don't because I don't listen.
At least hopefully your girlfriend never finds this and sees that you don't know, and then she would be mad about that.
She literally just texted me right now because she just got off work and she's on her way back, and she's like, "Oh, what do you do?" I was like, "Oh, like don't call because I'm doing a podcast." And she's like, "What podcast?" And she's like, "Oh, remember that college football one? All those guys that were fans of the show were doing." And she's like, "Oh, great! So now you're gonna get into the whole college football." Like she's like, "I thought you had 2 months where I'm still clear of college football."
I was gonna ask you. I was going to ask you, Blake. So for Dan Lanning and Marcus Freeman, obviously they're 2 new coaches come into 2 programs that are kind of, I guess, on the edge or close to being college football contenders or Pac-12 contenders. Who do you think, if one of them is going to win a national title, which one do you think is going to do it first? And also, Luke,
mine already has one, dude.
Hey, you know what I'm
just saying.
And also, I guess, and then for me personally, I guess, what chance do you give Notre Dame week 1 against Ohio State and then against Clemson? And do you think Marcus Freeman because it's complete 180 with him, obviously he's more of a recruiter and kind of a player's coach than what Brian Kelly was. Brian Kelly was out on vacation when we had players coming for visits. So,
right.
But I guess, so what is that? What are your thoughts on that?
I will say I do think he's an upgrade over Brian Kelly. Like I think the guy was which I think Josh and I always talked about. I forget where Lyle stood on it. I can't remember what his thoughts were on Brian Kelly, but I always thought like he wasn't bad. I just didn't think he was like a top 5 coach in college football. I thought there were guys that were better than him. in regards to who I think wins one first, I think it's truly a flip of the coin. Like I couldn't tell you. Like I can't lean one way. Like I'm split on that. Like I wouldn't be shocked if Notre Dame wins one in the next 3 to 5 years. I wouldn't be shocked if Oregon wins one in the next 3 to 5 years. So I'm just gonna go 50-50 on that. I
In the
will
next 3 to
say
5 years, VT will finally get double-digit wins. Meanwhile,
there'll be an ACC contention, and Herm's still
ACC
going to be the coach because Ray Anderson just cannot,
Because why not?
because
I saw-
I'm just glad that the ACC is finally going to be getting rid of the Coastal, so we don't have to deal with the Coastal having a different team represent different team being in the Conference Championship every year, rotating between them. Because that literally happened. It was like from 2012 to 2017, all 7 teams in the Coastal were in the championship game once.
right.
It was like perfect.
Yeah, so I got about 2 or 3 minutes left, so I'll do this question first. That way, in case there's like anything else, I can make sure I hit it before I go. Ryan, I'm sorry, Notre Dame has no chance against
That's
Ohio
what
State.
yeah.
Like I think Ohio State, like they're my championship pick. Like I think they run the course and go undefeated. I will say I do think you guys have a really strong chance against Clemson. It is going to be at home. I know that they were kind of down last year. I think they'll be back, but I think you guys can take Clemson. But I'll give you against Ohio State. I'll be generous and say like 0.5%. But yeah, I think Ohio State.
So 11-1. You think is that a fair?
I think they can go 11-1. It's going to be tough because again, Clemson, that's a tough one.
BYU is also a sneaky game too.
Yeah, BYU's tough. I mean, even at North Carolina, that low key, could be sneaky. But I'm not going to say they're going to be maybe. I don't know. Looking at the schedule again, I wouldn't be shocked if they win 8 or 9 games. Like they could lose, like Ohio State lost. They could lose to Clemson. They can lose to USC. And if there's just like a random one sprinkled in there, like at North Carolina, that's probably it because I can't see them losing any of these. Oh, I guess BYU, but that's in Vegas, so that's a neutral game. Yeah, I mean, they could lose 7 or 8. I wouldn't be shocked.
Would as if you're a part of the committee, if Notre Dame goes 11-1, loses to Ohio State week 1, are they in it?
I would. I probably would. It depends on how everything else goes, but especially like if you are hot at the end and you finish strong, especially if they can knock out USC on the road to close the year is like a statement win.
And if it's not that bad of a blowout loss to Ohio State, it's a close loss or something, and Ohio State runs the course, like you think.
I guess if they cover, like say
A
they stay within
close
14
game
points.
with Ohio State. That's funny.
Like if it's a 14 point
Hey,
game.
I mean, everybody thought Oregon was gonna. I mean, what? We were probably 10 point.
I think you guys
So
were 14.
15
I
point
think,
dogs?
I think it was
14 point
14. I
dogs?
think it's what ASU was an underdog to. Man, Oregon in 14-point spreads. They were 14-point underdog to Ohio State 1, favored by 14 against ASU, lost. And I think they're I think it's 15.5 against Georgia. I was gonna say, man, if it was 14, but 15.5, I don't know.
Dude, I just think that's so crazy. They lost 10 guys in the draft, and they're still like, I don't know. Oregon's reloading. I think we got a chance, man. I do.
Right.
Hey, you know what? All I gotta say is that if Oregon can beat Ohio State with a 14-point spread, we're only a 13-point spread. So
there's hope.
take it for what it's worth.
I would have none.
Yeah. No.
But all right.
Next time you guys talk about Miami, please just 0-12. Just
0-12, yes.
put it into existence. I hate Mario Cristobal.
I will do what I can. I will make note of that. Make sure to emphasize Miami.
Just secretly on the HH show for the pick'ems, just always pick against Miami.
Yeah.
I'll do it in Lucas's honor.
Miami
versus Georgia Musical Academy. I'm taking the Musical Academy.
Yeah.
Because screw Mario Cristobal.
Yes.
Because why? Because why, Blake?
Yeah, because why not, guys? Why
No,
not?
I'm taking Cupcake State. I'm taking
that's
Cupcake State.
All right, Blake.
Okay,
well, it was awesome
so I
having
think-
you on, man.
Yep.
Yeah, guys, no, I'm glad I was able to do this. Definitely try to get me on one more time at least before the season ends.
Well,
Yeah,
we can
this
have
was-
you join for the Pac-12 realignment. We'll see.
Oh
what
boy.
we'll
Just
see
have
what
me
you
come
do.
on like the blindfold, then you just take it off and go, here
Oh,
it is. And then I
there
can
you go.
see my live reaction. You know, whenever you do that, let me know. And I assuming give me like a week heads up, and
Gotcha.
I will be
Gotcha.
more than willing to come on and
Yeah, we'll let you
And
know.
hopefully we get and hopefully our show gets going because everyone has jobs now and we can't do it. So hopefully we can have our show back and because I always love seeing your guys' comments in the show when we're talking of you guys disagreeing with us or just
For
something
each other.
for me.
most of the time.
Me and Ryan battling.
Oh
in the
God,
comments.
you don't even
Oh, I
see
know.
our group chat. Blake.
No, it's gotten, dude, Blake, it's gotten so much worse in the group that we have now.
Blake, I'm not even joking. Me and Lucas could start our own first take show for how much we.
Oh no, I believe it. I
Yeah.
100%
And I'm just like the pretty moderator that sits in between.
You have to
being
try to do your best
"Guys,
to maintain.
Stop. Come on. Let's bring it back to where it is. So
Ryan, your
thank you
take's
very much.
idiotic. Lucas, your take's dumb.
God.
Just quit.
I'm the best. I'm the most reasonable, but thank you very much, Blake.
No,
thank you very much for
and
joining
again,
us.
thank you guys as always, Frito.
Sure.
Always, doing what you can with the show, supporting the show, being awesome. I'm glad you're able to form this because I guess you were inspired by the show, and I'm not able to watch every show you guys do, but I do tune in a few times. I'll tune in for 10 or 15 minutes whenever I got time.
Nice.
You guys kill it.
When you
and,
tune in, you just gotta let us know that you're there, man. You just gotta put a comment or something just to let us know you're actually there.
Next
I do
time,
wanna
I'll
say-
make sure I put it in the live chat. But yeah, no, keep kicking ass, guys. You guys are doing great, and like I said, get me on for that Pac-12 realignment show because I want to see it firsthand. What you guys do.
You have to do your own and send it to us, but then you'll come in blindfolded and we'll show you the abominations that we've created for each of them.
I do want to say one thing before you hop off, Blake. I want to say the show wouldn't be what it is without you and the inspiration of you guys in the Harris Highlights boys. So thank you, and you can tell them all thanks for helping us start this show, and for me personally, me going to broadcasting school because of you guys and listening to you guys in high school. So
final question, Blake, real quick. When are you finally gonna release the best of 2021 and best of 2020 plays for college football? Because I don't think you've done that in the past 2 years.
No, it's just copyright, man. Like I gotta rely on the money now, and I don't want to lose my monetization. I can't.
I mean,
I wish I could, but I just because YouTube's so random and strict with how they just block things.
I mean,
nowadays.
because you were just F it and just posting that earlier. That's how I found you, was the best of 2013.
Yeah,
best
that
place
one,
2013.
that's one that blew up my channel because I think it got 5 or 6 mil. I would same with Game to Remembers. I wish I could, but ACC nowadays is so strict with content. It's just
ACC. I wanted you to do the Virginia Tech UNC game that went to 6 overtimes a few years ago.
There were so many games I wanted to do. It's just now it's the fact that I gotta bank on this because screw SB Nation.
See, that's what I heard. Yeah, you gotta let go, and now you start your own blog,
because they're cheap. So I gotta bank more on YouTube money. So unfortunately, no more highlights, no more risk in copyright. It's Getty Images and royalty-free music from now on.
Just call up Sick Edits HD and ask him, hey, how do you use all those songs that he uses that don't get copyrighted somehow?
Will do. But yeah, no, guys, this was fun. Get that whatever chat that me, Josh, and them are still in. Send some messages there because
you guys you still respond every once in a while when we do put stuff in there. You guys,
because I have a different Twitter now that I barely use the one that you guys reached out on. I use that one, so that's the best I get a hold of me.
Okay.
Yeah,
make sure I'm in there.
I've seen it. It's the one where you post all the stuff about the Dodgers on your blog.
I have the beautiful check mark because they verified me. Make sure I'm in there because I like talking college football with you guys.
Yeah, we'll add you on that one.
All right,
but thank you very much, Blake.
It's
been very much appreciated, and we'll let you know when our next realignment is, man.
Talk to you guys soon. This was a blast. You guys rock.
Yep.
Awesome. Thanks, man.
Sure.
So that was Blake. He'll be on the show later. In a few weeks, probably when we get to conference realignment. Probably that'll be in late July or August or so. I just realized we never did a read for the W, so we're just gonna do it now at the end.
Now.
So where's the W in your alcohol, Lucas?
No, I didn't have it today.
If you guys want some great energy to mix with the alcohol to give you that extra kick to get through the crappy part of your day, go to w.gg and get some W energy. Use the link or use the code. Where is it? There it is. Week 0 for 10% off. Week is all caps for 10% off. I believe it's your first purchase, correct?
Yep.
So use that. Everything. It helps raise the show. Josh
It was
said it was in the milk today.
milk
Oh yeah, you were
today.
drinking the milk.
Josh is assuming. Josh was assuming this is milk.
Oh.
Y'all ever have rum chata before?
No.
No.
It's like
So you didn't put
horchata.
it in the rum chata?
Rum chata.
Oh my god, that'd be terrible.
So yeah, if you guys want, some great energy, go to w.gg, and any of the orders that you do helps out the channel. And it's much appreciated, guys. We love
And
all the
according
support,
to
obviously.
Lucas, the best ad read of all time.
Yes.
You can
Yes,
put it
sir.
in your alcohol too.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Put in your alcohol too. So, but that's it, guys. We'll see you next week, next Friday, for
Gotta
the
say the
Big
names.
Ten. For Lucas. Let me.
You aren't gonna be able
for
to see it
Lucas,
anyways.
for Lucas,
Oh, for
Bo
Heisman, baby.
Bo for Heisman McKnight. For Ryan, Texas is back in baseball forever. I am your host, Connor, back the PAC Doherty. We will see you guys next Friday. Horns down, I guess.
Horns down. It's 3-1, bottom of the fifth.
Did you see the guy who did
It's,
horns down for the women's World Series? There was a singer who he was going to do he sang for the national anthem for the women's World Series. He did horns down at the end, and then he got an email saying he couldn't sing the national anthem for Game 9 of the men's College World Series. He got in trouble for it. But we'll see you guys next week. We'll be back with the Big Ten, so that'll be a lot of fun. And then we have a very special guest coming on for the SEC show in 2 weeks' time.
Two special guests.
Two special guests.
We won't say it yet. We gotta
We won't
make it a
say it
secret. Gotta make it a secret.
We're just saying who. We won't say who. But we'll see you guys then. Have a good night and be safe out there.